Hi, I'm Dr. Angela McBurdy of DoctorFlute.com, and today's practice with me is the Moyse short tones. We're going to look at the Moyse short tones from his book De la Sonorite, and I'm talking about these exercises right here. There's a couple pages of them, and they're just highly beneficial to working on. I first stumbled upon them in college, and I just read what Moyse had to say about them and played them, and it really was a voyage of discovery because I didn't work on them with a teacher. I just did them on my own and worked on, and all of a sudden I realized this is what they're for. These exercises are for learning how to get your high register out and have spin and have resonance and just really beautiful sound up there in a short space of time. So I like working on them as an everyday kind of thing. There's many different ones, so you can choose one or choose two of these exercises to work on. Let me show you what I do when I'm practicing them. The first way, Moyse talks about working on them in 4 different ways, and the first way is to slur them all. So if I'm going to slur them all, I'm just listening for the sound I'm going to get. I'm listening for any glitches. Do I have any problems? And then I'm listening, can I slur? Usually you have a stable note. And in this case, on the first one, it's F. And I want to know if I can keep that F beautiful and stable and at the same pitch while getting the 3rd octave notes and slurring up to them and back down. So it's a really wonderful exercise for control and for using your lip. So let's work on them a little bit. I'm looking at number 1. So the stable note is F. And the first way is to slur everything. When you work your way down, it's a really good exercise to really use that lip so that you keep the F stable and a good sound on it, but your low notes, you're adjusting that embouchure to get them to come out. Now we would probably go back and do some of those low notes again a little bit more slowly. And I did that at a pretty good clip. I can tell you that the first time I worked on these, probably for the first month that I worked on number 1, I had to really do it slowly. You think about that, make sure I don't have any glitches. If I have some glitches, I'm just going to work on that section for a while until I get it to come out. Now in your practice session, you want to go through all 4 times before you move on to something else. So if I were to work on slurring for a while, I still need to make sure that I can get through the 3 other ways that Moyse wants you to work on these in one practice session. I think it's just a good way to tie everything together. The second way that I want to work on this is to slur from the stable note into the 2nd note. So I'm not playing them as triplets. I'm tearing them apart. They're not going to be rhythmically correct. I'm just going to be thinking about the tone I'm getting. And what I'm striving for is that the top note is a brilliant, vibrant sound, such as if I wanted to play an E. Our E's are the ones that are tricky and they want to crack. Make sure you play your E with no pinky up there. Generally it has a pinky down, but it makes it in better pitch and helps it to crack just a little bit less. So if I play that note by itself, then when I'm doing this exercise, I'm telling myself I need to get that exact sound when I'm there. So if I'm slurring the F to that E, so the first time it cracked, and then I realized, okay, I need to use a little bit more air pressure. I need to have more support lifting up that note. So I used a little bit more support and it made that note come out. So if I start at the beginning And I'm going to use the number 2, which is slurring the F to the second note. There's no speed involved. You're not doing this to see how fast you can get through. Your goal is to make the second note brilliant and short, have spin. You're not trying to just play it with a good tone. Something like that. You're trying to get the spin. And then you're starting on the F and going lower. That probably was almost harder for me to work on than going higher, using that embouchure and changing it as I go lower, because after doing the high notes, what generally happens is that we keep the tighter high embouchure and we don't let it relax as we're going lower. And that's key to doing these exercises. You must relax that embouchure as you are going down. That's the second way. Now, spend as much time working on that as you can, and then move on to the third way. So the third way is you're starting on the second note of your triplet and slurring it to the stable note. So I'm skipping the first F, I'm starting on F sharp, slurring it to F. I'll do that again. I heard a crack I didn't like a couple times. That can be kind of tricky. So I'm playing the top note and saying, can I make a really good sound? And then slur that to that F, that drone F. And you can get cracks, and it can not be totally stable for you. But this is the idea of the whole exercise, is to work on that. And all of us need work on this, making sure that we have enough support on the top note. If your top notes are cracking too much, or they're going down the octave and not staying up there, you need more support. You need to really push up with your stomach muscles and really keep that pressure, which is what support is, really pushing up on that tone to keep those high notes up there. So each one of these so far that we've done, 1, 2, and 3, offer their own difficulties. The fourth one is just to tongue them all short. And I have to add more pressure here, thinking about that. I'm consciously thinking of relaxing my embouchure. Now, if I work on number 1 for a while, then I might want to add the second one in the list of short tones, and just do that for a whole week or maybe a couple weeks working on just 1 and 2, and then I might work on 3 and 4. But the main job here is to really work on your short tones and make them brilliant, whether in your high register or you're working on your low register. They must be brilliant and full of resonance. That's today's practice with me. If you liked today's video, share it with your friends, press the like button, comment below, and subscribe.